All right, West Virginia fans, going to change up the topic today. A few weeks ago, I did a West Virginia preview video. In today's episode, I'm going to talk more about the wrestling team, the top 5 matches that I'm looking forward to watching them this season. So if you're a West Virginia fan, please remember to like and subscribe to the show, especially if you like West Virginia wrestling or college wrestling in general. Definitely going to cover that and, basketball, football, baseball, all the West Virginia main sports that I'm into. So if you like this stuff, please remember to like and subscribe to JerseyEER. With that being said, let's get into the countdown. So before we even get started with the list, let's break down some matches that did not make it that were on the edge. So for me, being biased, being JerseyEER, having Ryder and Princeton on the schedule is pretty exciting for me because there's a lot of New Jersey State wrestlers on those teams. And I think it's cool that West Virginia is wrestling them. West Virginia came up to Ryder last year, and Princeton's a team that has had success. They're kind of rebuilding right now with a new coach and putting those things into play. But having New Jersey schools on the roster should be fun. Princeton's is actually a tri or quad meet. They have Appalachian State, and I think Glenville State's on that day too. So if you go to that match, it's at home, and you'll get to see multiple teams wrestle that day, which is pretty cool. And then North Carolina and Arizona State are teams that have done well at wrestling. They're good programs. It should be a good dual meet between those schools. But it was just outside the top 5 for me as dual meets as we get this thing kicked off. So another match that was honorable mention is February 13th at Iowa State. Iowa State is probably the toughest match on our schedule this year. Iowa State is ranked 4th according to Flow Wrestling. So when you see these rankings, that's based on team tournament rankings. So dual meet and team tournaments are quite different. But if you have a high ranking for a tournament team, that means you have a lot of highly ranked wrestlers. So that's why Iowa State is that good. They added a few guys in the transfer portal, and Isaac Dean and Rocky Elam this year in the portal. This match was close last year. It was 24-18 Iowa State. That's pretty impressive for West Virginia to make it that close. This should be a good measuring stick for West Virginia, though. It really should, because Iowa State, like I said, is a top 5 team coming into the season. And like I said, I said West Virginia, I think this is a chance for them to really climb the rankings this year and show the nation that this is a program that's on the rise. So in order to do that, you have to be competitive in these type of environments. Hilton Coliseum is a great place to watch a wrestling match. You can see it in the background. Iowa takes wrestling very seriously, and they fill that place. So that should be a really cool environment for West Virginia's wrestlers to wrestle in. So that should be a fun dual meet. It'll be a tough one to win, but it's a good measuring stick of where we are as a program and where we stack up nationally against a really, really good caliber team in Iowa State. All right, so number 5. So speaking of Iowa, let's talk about UNI, Northern Iowa. So last year, Northern Iowa won this one handily. I actually think it's a much more winnable match for West Virginia just based on looking at the matchups. And this should just be, again, another fun environment. This is called the McLeod Center. It's, again, Northern Iowa's home arena, and it's a sick place to watch a wrestling match. I mean, you can see it there. They pack the place. They love wrestling out in Iowa. So this one should be fun, in a fun environment where you have a chance to win. I really think that this one's fascinating. So I'm going to be tuned into this one February 14th at UNI. Up next, we have December 14th versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State won this one last year 30-12. OSU is coached by David Taylor. So anyone watching this that knows wrestling, David Taylor is an absolute legend in, college wrestling at the senior level. And it's great to have young blood in that wrestling room taking over for John Smith. So OSU is a huge wrestling brand, right? They are one of the biggest. So it's always exciting to wrestle Oklahoma State. The individual matchups in that one should be really good. So they're ranked number 8 by Flow Wrestling. Probably a tough match to get a win in, but they're coming to our place. You never know. An upset or two could swing things. But either way, I'm excited for that one for West Virginia. It should be a fun environment in the Hope Coliseum. Number 4, we have February 6th versus Missouri. Missouri won this one close last season, 22-16. These teams are very similar according to Flow Wrestling as far as the tournament team rankings go. West Virginia is ranked 16th. Missouri is just behind them at 19. This is one where bonus points are going to be important. West Virginia is favored a lot in the lower weights, where Missouri will probably be favored a lot in the upper weights, and kind of balancing those points out to see who has the most at the end should be a good one. So if you are looking to buy tickets for any matches, this one's definitely one you should have circled on your calendar versus Missouri. Number 3, we have Oklahoma. So January 18th versus Oklahoma. West Virginia actually won this one last year, 22-13. Willie McDougald came over from Oklahoma. So he left Oklahoma in the transfer portal, decides he wants to be a Mountaineer. So that should be fun to watch him versus his old team. Again, JerseyEER is the channel. So the guy you see on the screen from Oklahoma is Rutgers transfer Brian Soldano. He wrestled at High Point up here in the state and was a 3-time state champ. Really, really fun guy to watch. I don't care where he is in the rankings. He's extremely dangerous with how he can pin you from any position. So if you are going to this one or going to watch this one, definitely check out Soldano. He's really, really fun to watch. He lets it fly, and that should be exciting. And then I think this one is another match that could come down to the wire. I think both these teams are pretty evenly matched, and I think that if you look at the dual meet coming in, it could be one where one thing leads to another, and this match could completely flip on its head. So this one should be fun, again, at home this year versus Oklahoma. Then another home one, number 2, is going to be January 18th versus Wyoming. Wyoming won this one very close last year, 19-18. So, West Virginia is going to try to avenge that loss. It's actually the Beauty and the Beast match as well. So if anyone has never heard about the Beauty and the Beast match, it's really cool. So West Virginia and the gymnastics team compete side by side. So like a match will go on, and then they'll pause, and then a gymnastic athlete will do the routine. And it's a way to fill the Coliseum and highlight both programs. I think it's a really cool opportunity for these student athletes and a way to grow both sports. So the fact that it's going to be an exciting match versus a good Wyoming team should be fun. Like you see on the graphic there, they have returning All-American Joe Novak at 197. So for Lawrence, that could be a good match and to see where he's at. And then Wyoming's ranked 24th by Flow Wrestling in those rankings that we were talking about before. So this one should be fun, especially if you are into wrestling and bring the wife if she's into gymnastics, bring your kids if they're into both. It's a really cool opportunity, and both these programs I'm sure would love to see a filled arena for that. And then number 1, the Backyard Brawl, right? January 6th at Pitt. This is a really, really close wrestling series. Pitt leads it 11-12-1. So if West Virginia can get a win this year, it would even that series up at 12-12 and then with a tie. So, anytime these teams wrestle, it's super exciting. Last year's match actually came down to the final bout. Unfortunately, Pitt took that one. So, West Virginia is going to want to get that one as well. I expect this one to be close this year too, just based on the history of this rivalry and the wrestlers on each team. I think it's going to be a really close match that can go either way. And it's a rivalry match, right? These matches just mean more, even though it's not as big as football and probably not as big as basketball. You better believe that I'm sure both these wrestlers from each team have this circled on their calendar, and they're going to be up to wrestle this one in front of a packed house. So that one should be a lot of fun. Definitely tune into that one as well if you're a West Virginia fan. And that's all I got, right? So a short video. Just wanted to hop on here again, highlight the wrestling team. I think there are a lot of talented wrestlers on this team, and I think they deserve more recognition. I know not a lot of people in the space are covering them. I was a wrestler myself back in the day, so anything I can do to draw more eyeballs and more awareness about the team, I'm going to do. So appreciate you guys. Go check out the wrestling team this year. That should be fun to watch. We'll do another video this week on the basketball team. We'll do some football stuff, and we'll keep this thing rolling. Have a great night.